Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, well, spoiler season continues for Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and this card, oh my goodness, I absolutely love the direction that Wizards goes with some things. I dislike very much the way it goes with other things, but when they have a card like this, it says there is hope, there is potential, that they sometimes know what they're doing. So let's jump into it with Brass's Tunnel Grinder, a really cool card from this set, and one that I think is going in the right direction for this type of card, a ledger artifact for 2 and 8 red. It says when it enters the battlefield, discard any number of cards and draw that many cards plus 1. Now, this is a fixed version of cards in the past that just kind of were like, okay, like we used to in red and other colors too, be like, yeah, we don't really have a lot of options when it comes to card draw, so help. And some of the cards were essentially, yeah, sure, discard all the cards in your hand, then draw that many cards. The problem with that was essentially you were always going down a card. You were always going down a single card because, well, you discarded those cards in your hand that didn't include the card that you just casted, and then all of a sudden you're down one card. And a lot of those were also like, you know, everyone does that. So then your opponents are kind of like one card up on you. This one takes that out of the equation by saying, yeah, I'm replacing myself as well. You are discarding basically the number of cards that you had in your hand when you were looking at your hand and deciding to cast this card. That many cards. So again, if you had 6 in your hand, then you cast this card. Cool. You're discarding 5, technically, drawing 6. There you go. So you're going back up to the amount that you already had. And then also, this has some extra flexibility to it, some extra utility to it, I should say, that I absolutely love. So again, this card can definitely see play outside of just, yeah, a wheel deck, which wheel decks are going to be like, yeah, give me another wheel. This one, though, has some really spice to it. It has a lot of spice to it. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, put a board counter on Brass's Tunnel Grinder. If there are 3 or more board counters on it, remove those counters and transform it. You descend if a permanent card is put in your graveyard from anywhere. So, basically, you are going to be getting more and more of these board counters on them just inherently throughout the game. I mean, very simply, again, card in your graveyard from anywhere. Permanent card, I should say. So, with this, essentially, if you're discarding your hand, you probably are going to be discarding one permanent card at least, or I should say any number of cards. Doesn't have to be your whole hand. You're going to be discarding a permanent most likely, getting a board counter on it. These board counters can happen, you know, whether you are essentially sacrificing an Evolving Wilds on your turn, you know, getting a creature that dies, essentially, or again, discarding any card. There's a lot of ways to get permanents into your graveyard. And also keep in mind, obviously, it does require, 3 board counters on it, essentially. If you've got any kind of proliferate effects, that obviously can get more counters on this more quickly, too. And once this does flip, the potential on the backside is pretty spicy. Hey, tap for a red. Nice. It's a land. Cool. Also, on top of that, whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by this, the Searing Rift, or Tecutlan, the Searing Rift, I should say the name, discover extracts that spell's mana value. Yeah, discovers a pretty cool new mechanic. It's basically kind of like Cascade-ish. Let's just quickly, I'm going to read, I'm not going to show it on the screen most likely, but I'm just going to read another card. Exile cards to the top of your library to exile a non-land card with mana value X or less, cast out paying its mana cost, or put it in your hand with the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. So essentially, yeah, kind of like Cascade, but you can also choose to actually not cast the card and just get it right in your hand as well. So a land that can give you a lot of extra spicy value throughout the game. Again, basically, hey, you cast a 7 mana spell. Cool, look at the top 7 cards of your library, cast one of them essentially for free, or get it in your hand. So a lot of really cool things can happen, kind of like a Sunbird's Invocation-ish. I'm going to say ish. It's not exactly direct. So yeah, overall, this card checks a lot of boxes for me. It's got immediate value that you can utilize in different ways. Again, benefits from discarding, benefits from drawing. You can bounce back to your hand, replay it, whatever you want to do with that. Also, it's an artifact and it's legendary, so that comes into play too in some decks as well. On top of that, again, that awesome potential, the flexibility for it, the utility for it. Love it. So yeah, there are definitely cards out there that, well, kind of pale in comparison to this one in a way, kind of a previous ways that they design cards and whatnot, but there are definitely commanders out there that can utilize this in some very exciting ways. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about some comparison cards, and let's talk about some commanders as well. But now really quick, let's talk about some somewhat comparable cards to this one, and we're going to start things off with Into the Fire. Another flexible card, again, 3 mana. That is a pretty much what you're going to be getting the going rate these days for kind of discarding your hand and redrawing, I guess. It's sorcery with 3 mana. Choose 1, 2 damage each creature, planeswalker, battle. So take out some basically small-ish things. I mean, I guess take planeswalkers down a little bit if they're in play. Battles, sure, if you got a battle deck. But yeah, mostly as creatures, take out like some small tokens, most likely. Also, hey, Valakut Awakening. Now, this is a card that sees a good amount of play. I believe last time I checked, it was like 8% because this is an MDFC land, and those are just inherently great because, yeah, they are like, hey, you know what? You just get a land or you get something great. Instant for 3 mana, so again, instant speed, which is very nice. Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many cards +1. So again, replacing your hand essentially to the amount that you had it before you cast it. That being said, with this one and with Into the Fire again, essentially, discarding your hand is typically going to be better than actually putting your hand on the bottom of your library. There are certain commanders out there, okay? There are very few, like Grenzo, or I guess Dungeon Warden, right? There are certain commanders out there that care about the bottom of your library. Not many, though, in comparison to ones that care about discarding, getting cards in your graveyard, utilizing them, again, you know, if they've got Flashback, Jumpstart, you care about getting things out of your graveyard back in your hand or into play, or if you've got creatures or commanders or whatnot that say, hey, when you discard cards, you get this benefit. So, yeah. More likely, you'd rather be actually discarding the cards than actually just getting them on the bottom of your library. And then finally, kind of like the first card that really started this off, and we can kind of see what the value of it was. Heartwarming Redemption, 4 mana in Boros. Discard all the cards in your hand, then draw that many +1. Also, you gain life with lower cards in your hand. The reason players play this isn't typically the life gain. I'd say the vast majority are like, no, I don't really care. Life gain just like, that's nice. Is it worth the extra mana? No, not really. So yeah, again, the going rate back then was like 4 mana, discard your hand, draw that many +1. Nowadays, it is 3. And also, you get extra benefits, extra utility to this. So yeah, I think this new card has a ton of potential. And speaking of potential, let's talk about some commander potential. And yeah, again, I did mention, hey, another wheel effect. Yeah, if you got a commander that likes wheels, it's going to enjoy this. We got Nimbus at Faroon, 5/5, can't be countered flying. Whenever you draw a card, 1 damage to any target. Whenever player casts in sorcery, draw a card. Cool. Basically, if you wheel, hey, you're going to be drawing a lot of cards, and you're going to be pinging a lot of things. So there you go. And on top of that, again, when this does flip again into that land, cool, you get to discover a lot and get a lot of extra value. A lot of fun times are ahead. Speaking of fun, another commander that cares about wheels, the Locust God, 4/4 Flying God, 4/6 mana. Whenever you draw a card, you get a 1/1 insect with haste and flying. And yeah, you can also, you know, draw and discard with mana, but you're more likely just going to be casting a bunch of wheels again and again and again with your mana. And again, with this, yeah, you get, again, a lot of great ways to essentially say, hey, yeah, discard, draw, +1. Whatever my hand size is, I'm getting that again, making a ton of insects. And also, when it flips again, a lot of free extra value, potentially casting even more wheels, basically, for free with that. Got another commander that kind of, it wheels itself in a way, reality otherwise. +1 of 0, press each ancient source card in your graveyard, so keep that in mind. Most importantly, though, whenever you discard 1 or more cards the first time each turn, draw that many cards. So, yeah, basically a giant way to double up a single wheel. Yeah, that can become quite spicy quite quickly. And again, keep in mind, it is every single turn. So, again, first time each turn. So, on your opponent's turns, if you start casting maybe some instants with some value from the Discover, you get extra value from that as well. And then, of course, again, commanders that care about discarding, like Brawl and the Sky Shark, I guess in the Sky Shark Rider, Shabraz is the Sky Shark, which is the partner, so let's say Jeskai Commander. Essentially, when you discard a card, you get a counter on this and 1 damage each opponent. You also have Sky Shark, which actually has that draw side as well, you know, gaining life, getting counters on it. Great. The most important thing, though, is, again, hey, punish your opponents. Get extra wheels in there. There's a lot of commanders, again, that care about essentially either drawing or discarding and having yet another wheel. Again, one with extra utility, one with game-changing utility is definitely one that you want to consider. So yeah, overall, a very exciting card. And again, I'm glad. I am glad, again, from some of the things that Wizards has changed over the years. And again, basically saying, like, okay, instead of it being you discard your hand and you just draw that many cards, it kind of makes more sense to do it with the +1 because it's like, okay, yeah, you're casting and then you're going back up to that same amount that you were at. Versus, yeah, casting and then be like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I did have 6, now I've got 5, so I only draw the 5. It's not the worst thing in the world, but again, I do kind of think it is more of a fixed wheel type effect, essentially. And again, I do like adding that utility, so it's like not just for wheel decks. You've got like the potential to say, yeah, this is some game-changing plays that you can have. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this one. Let me know what kind of decks you might utilize it in if you're going to utilize it. And yeah, make sure to stay tuned to this channel for more exciting quick takes and spoilers coming up. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.